I'm going to hit record on this. I think it's recording. Cool. So your document you sent over with questions was super, super helpful. So I'm going to basically walk through that. I'm not sure I have much. I mean, like that I think kind of wraps up what you guys are wanting to know. And so I'll answer that, and I'll see if I have anything else to add. But your first two questions are basically, first three questions I think are all going to be answered with the same wording, which is the same answer, which is basically when you guys are writing amendments, when at all possible, you guys want to avoid writing any new language. So like pretty much every clause or whatever you write, you should be copying from something Damien has already written in the clause manual or something that I have written or like an agent has written on your behalf. I
don't know what a clause manual is.
So within CTME, if you might be able to pull it up within CTME, let me see if I can pull it up on this computer. If I can't, then I'll just tell you. But there are clauses that you can autofill within CTME that are directly written by Dan. So I'm going to try to pull up an amendment and see if it links you from the amendment or not.
That's exactly what we want, because we just make it up, or we look at try to find someone else's.
Yep.
Sometimes I say shall because it
I think the main idea. Yeah, I think the main idea is like you guys want to avoid trying to write the wording when at all possible. Even the agents should avoid writing the wording when at all possible. But definitely you guys. And so you basically just want to use a clause that an agent's already written, or better yet, we should just establish, if there's not a clause manual in place, we should just establish a clause manual for you guys that you guys just copy and paste. If it's and just like you did here, you get your top four most common amendments, let's just have me or you together, we'll write up those amendments so you guys can just copy and paste them, I think.
That would be wonderful. So did you find it? I'm looking at CTME. Where do you?
Yeah, so what I'm going to do actually, like, go into a new amendment. So I'm going to act like I'm creating a new amendment.
Okay.
And I'm going to see if it's in there. So I'll go in like I'm doing an amendment. Down in the bottom section, the additional amendments, anytime there's a box where you can write in an amendment, in the top right above the box should be an orange little link that says clauses.
So did you just open? You just opened an amendment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just went into some file and just hit new amendment.
Where do you? There's a thing that says new amendment.
Well, so just like agreement to amend. I'm just going in like I'm creating an amendment.
Okay. So I open it.
So open like a brand new amendment with nothing filled out in it, and then scroll down to additional amendments, box 4. And right above it in the top right, you should see a little thing that says clauses.
So I'm looking at an agreement to amend, extend contract. That's probably not what you want, is it? Can you show your screen with me?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I will share.
I'm not following. Tara is the one who actually.
Did you see my?
Yeah, I see it.
So you see my screen? Okay. So I'll go back a little bit just so you can see kind of what I did. So I was just within someone's file. So let's say, oh, you're good. Come on in.
I have to happen real quick.
Oh, you're good.
Do you have Pam on there?
Yeah.
Okay,
I do.
awesome.
Wait.
So sorry.
No, you're good. I'm recording too. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, you go to the bathroom. You're great.
Yeah.
You're great. So I'm just kind of in CTME here. You see this? And so I just, you just go within, you have to go within a file to be able to create an amendment.
Yeah, right.
And then
I've done them. I just don't do them very often.
Okay, cool. So I had to create a new contract and then did agreement to amend and extend. And so now pulled up this blank box. So this blank amendment here. So I scrolled. So all of this you don't really need my help for. Like if you're changing a date, that's pretty self-explanatory. Change the date. If you're changing the price, that'll be something that we can give you a clause for. But that's relatively simple. Any kind of extra things, ideally what you do is, you see this right here, this little clauses link?
Okay, yeah, I do.
So any contract in CTME, whether it's the contract to buy and sell, a counter proposal, whatever it is, anywhere there's a box like this where you can type in whatever you want to type in, the little clauses link should be right above it.
Okay.
And if you click
Never
on
seen
that,
that. What in the world?
so if you click on that, now here's all the clauses you can auto-fill. And what I would recommend you guys do is, you see these initials right here?
Yeah.
You want to go to D. Cox. That's Damian Cox. That's our lawyer. So anyone that says D. Cox was written by our lawyer.
Okay.
So and so there's all these different amendments, and you may just have to play around with some to know what is what. But like this one says, broker is the buyer amendment. So we have that a lot. The broker is the buyer. So you check that box, insert. I'll show you in a second.
Okay.
And then it automatically puts that in there. Buyer is a licensed real estate broker in the state of Colorado. Buyer may receive a portion of the commission. So what I was telling her, Tara, is that there's a clause manual embedded within CTME.
Okay.
So when you pull up a new like agreement to amend and extend, like you're writing one, anywhere that there's like an amendment box in any contract, there's a little clauses link right here. So then what you guys should start with is click on that clauses link, and these are all the different clauses you can auto insert. Now, what I would recommend you do is only use the ones that say D. Cox, because that's our lawyer.
Gotcha.
So then only use those. So the one I just did, for example, was broker is the buyer. Here's one, broom clean. If they want one that says the house will be cleaned, whenever you buy it, that would go into a contract. Buyer broker commission paid by seller. I'm trying to think like what common ones you guys might use here.
What else do you write, Tara?
So a lot of them, what's up, we have the amendment with the broker. That's like basically they forgot to put the date, the deadlines. Okay, so that's on the exclusive right to buy. That it changed. A lot of it is changing. Like, okay, the inspection objection deadline is now this, or we're changing. A lot of it's extending the dates. I think it's a lot of amendments we write, or removing a name. Like let's say that a husband and wife are buying, or a boyfriend and girlfriend for some reason, maybe because of the loan, we only can have the wife on, or what have you, or a woman on it. So removing and extending dates is, I think, what I write the most of.
So what you can see in these list of clauses is that listed in front of it is the document that it should most often go with. So CBS would be contract to buy and sell. These would be amends. Now, anything that would normally go in a CBS could probably also go in amendment, because you're just adding a clause that might have been in it. So like discount brokerage clause, like this would be one like the commission wasn't listed as 2.8%, and they want to get the full 2.8%. So it's probably a clause for them to get more money.
Can you hold it up and see what it looks like?
So who's BM on that one?
BM, I'm not sure who that is, but
let's just look at it.
at closing, seller agrees to pay. Yeah, so you wouldn't use this one because it's a specific. Because that's a different brokers that wrote that, but you could change that to Keller Williams Realty Success. At closing, seller agrees to pay Keller Williams Realty Success. The total commission in the amount of, so you could put that. And then as you look at, let's see, as you go back, so these are associated with these are associated with contract to buy and sell, low appraisal. So like when our agents are writing appraisal gap clauses, they should be using these. When there's a septic system, they could be using this. When there's a well, they could use this. As is clause is written in here. And then when you go further down, email correction. So these would be things you probably wouldn't mess with. But
there's right to buy. Those are things.
ERB. So if there's a rebate to the buyer, sometimes we write that in.
That's true.
If there's a commission waiver, a referral fee, team clause, they've already written one there. We have our own. Termination of the exclusive right to buy, transaction coordinator authorization, which we write in within the team clause. So this won't have everything.
That can give us a starting point.
Yeah, that gives you a starting point.
Wow.
And this is inspection, stuff that might show up on an inspection report, inspection objection. LS would be, I think, the listing agreement is what they're actually saying. So like rebate to the seller, referral fee. And actually, there's some relevant team clauses written in here.
Nice. We can always use it for the structure of the amendment. We're going to write in and take stuff out, but at least it's good for the verbiage. So I think that's when you and I were talking about, like, how do you write it? I mean, do I need to write buyers as capital?
Yeah, yeah. So
Like
that's another good note. Anytime you're writing an amendment, a party to the contract should always be capitalized.
Okay.
Is
that what the agent?
Buyer, yeah. So buyer, seller, buyer agent would be capitalized,
Okay.
and then like, and if you're talking about the contract itself, like that would be capitalized as well.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
So that's supposed to tell you that that you're referring to this specific contract and not just a contract in general. Is by making it capitalized.
That makes sense. Specific.
So what I think is there will be some clauses in there, and you may just want to do some research to see what's in there and what's not. Inevitably, not every clause that you guys need is in there. So what I would recommend is that you use me to write the standard clauses.
Okay.
And so we could either just sit down and write them all, or what we should do in the beginning is just anytime you guys need to write one, just ask me.
Okay.
And then we write it, but then we only have to write it once. Let's create some document where they live.
Yeah.
And so then when we do a name amendment, I'll write the general one, and then that way you'll never have to ask me again. You'll have the name amendment.
Can we save it in here somewhere on CTME?
There might be a way to save it in CTME.
Okay,
I'm not sure on that.
We can make a drive file so we can just always copy and paste it in. That's easy. Okay.
Yep.
So Pam, I can make a drive file
Okay, can I
with
see
the
you?
amendments. What's that?
Are you done with CT? There you go. I just want to see you guys again.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Here, let me.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Let's start the video. Here we go.
Hey.
So rather than using Damien's, do you want to write them? You want to have our own regular Damien's?
I want to use Damien's whenever we can.
Okay.
And if then one doesn't exist, then I want then use me to write it.
Okay.
That'll be so helpful. That's great.
Yeah. And what I told Pam in the beginning, Tara, is basically just you guys should avoid ever writing the wording of something.
Oh, okay.
Even the agents should avoid writing the wording of a clause. They should have the lawyer write it, because technically agents are only supposed to fill in blanks, especially you guys.
Yeah.
And so don't ever write a clause that wasn't given to you by me or an agent or the lawyer.
Okay.
Because what you don't want to happen is that for some reason you did not write the clause protecting the client enough, and then and then for some reason they lose out on something because we didn't protect it, or God forbid it goes to court and it doesn't hold up in court because we didn't write it well.
Exactly.
So that's kind of what we want to watch. Is we just always basically just make sure the blame will never be on you guys.
Yeah, that's
the easiest thing to do. And ideally the way we do that is every amendment is written by Damien, but worst case scenario written by me.
So, because we probably run into it, I would say almost, maybe like on a weekly, but what have you. So from now on, if they say, hey, can you make an amendment to fix this, I'll come to you, or usually it'll probably be me because I'm part of the contract, have you write, I'll save that in the drive, and then,
And then we will eventually and we can start it off by I could just, you already gave me 4.
Yeah.
We could start off with the 5 or 6 most common, and I can just go ahead and write those for you.
Perfect.
And then if it's one of those, you already know what to do. And if it's not, come to me, I'll write it. And a lot of these you guys said amend and extend with broker dates. That is usually not that complicated because you just fill in the blank.
Yeah.
With date changes on an amendment, you just fill in the blank. So that's not a hard one.
No.
Price change on a counter is not hard because you're filling in the price point box. On an amendment, there's not a price point box, so you actually have to write it in. So I would use me to write that. And the name changes aren't that complicated, but just use whatever I'll write.
Remember the one you had me write yesterday, because on Garrett's thing, he forgot the dates. I'm not supposed to write the after, so like that. Okay.
Yeah, perfect. There was one yesterday where Tara had to amend exclusive right to buy that Garrett created, not because the ending date was wrong, but because there wasn't even a beginning date.
Yeah.
And so with that one, you can't just fill in the blank on the date. You have to write a clause down.
Right.
So
that would be.
I think the good thing with amendments is there's probably 5 or 6 that you'll do 90% of the time.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we'll have some of the other more common ones, but then we'll just have a clause menu you guys can just copy.
Perfect. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Is
great.
anything else about creating the amendment itself that's complicated, or is it just making sure you have the wording? And
No, I don't think so.
One thing I will tell you, amendments.
Oh, wait, go down to the very bottom. Okay, so maybe it's on the other amendment with the broker. There's another amendment. You know, the amendment with the broker where it says, yes, it's like buyer or at the very bottom, it says buyer or owner, I think.
Yes, yeah.
So if it's a buyer, it's always a buyer, and if it's a sell, then it's the owner, right?
Yeah, let's pull up. Let's pull up.
There's no explanation of those boxes, so it's like, what is this box doing here?
Exactly.
Yeah, so this is exclusive right to sell. Let me go to, I think you're right, exclusive right to buy. Go all the way up again. Okay. Let's see. So let's do exclusive right to buy. Oh no, you're right. It's amend and extend with broker.
Broker, yeah.
So that's what it is. So yeah, when you're, it has to be within.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think I can do it here. No. I'm going to share this again, Pam, so you can see it.
I'm looking at it. Well, that's fine, but
Oh, all right. So we got to find the amend and extend.
Right there. No,
amend and extend contract with broker. So this is, and just to kind of inform you guys, I think you guys maybe have this by now, but the reason you want to use amend and extend with broker anytime you're changing something directly between our agent and the buyer, because it doesn't require seller signatures.
Gotcha.
So if you could create a normal amendment that said buyer's agent's going to credit buyer $500 at closing, then a normal amendment requires the seller signature.
Gotcha.
With amend and extend with broker, it only requires our agent signature and the buyer's signature. So anything that's kind of affecting our relationship with the buyer, I'll do that. This one right here. So first of all, it can be kind of confusing. So up here, so basically the top two options are for sellers. The bottom two options are for buyers. Now this form is meant to be able to adjust a buy and sell contract and also a renting leasing contract. So this option, exclusive right to lease listing contract, you'll never check. And this option, exclusive tenant listing contract, you'll never check. So you're only ever checking, are you amending an exclusive right to sell listing or exclusive right to buy listing, right? So if it's seller up here, if it's buyer, you'll check down here, one or the other. And then it'll say dated this date. That should autofill if you create it within the
the exclusive right to buy.
Within that folder. If it doesn't, then this is the date the exclusive right to buy or sell was created. Not signed, but created.
Gotcha.
Perfect. And then down here, the date. This first box is literally just meant for extending the end date. So if you're extending the end date, then you'll just put it here. The new end date is this date.
Just the date.
So if you want to update the price, so like you know how we have to drop the price for sellers sometimes, and we need an amendment reflecting that they're okay with that list price. You do that in this box.
Put that number right there.
So that's the new thing. Anything else would go down in here. So that might be I'm giving the buyer a credit or something like that. And then here is if you selected exclusive right to sell, you're going to select owner. If you select exclusive right to buy, you're going to select buyer.
Perfect. Easy.
So it's just kind of 2 times saying who the
party. See right there. Okay, so if you click on web signature, sometimes it has initials. I always just do the enable web signature, but sometimes it says web signature and initials. Is there any time we should do the initials?
No.
I usually do.
The only time I would do the initials is if like it's a really picky lender. Like occasionally Veterans United has asked me, I'm going to come back and share the screen. So stop sharing. Occasionally Veterans United has been really, really picky and said, I want a signature on the bottom of every single contract, of every page of the contract. And so like if you know it's going to be a picky lender and they're going to ask for that, you could enable initials from the beginning and just put them on there from the get-go. But typically I just always say enable web signatures only. Because then it won't even put initial boxes. And initials aren't necessary. So so that'd be the exclusive right to.
So we're right on that one.
Amend and extend with broker.
Cool.
And then trying to think amendment wise.
The other thing I haven't done as much since I'm not working with Matt as much, but for a while I had to change, he had his section 7 on the right to sell wrong. So he didn't have the total commission in the first line. And I just made up the words for that, which I guess I shouldn't have done. You know, where you say the total commission is and blah, blah, blah. You haven't had to do that for a while, have you, Tara?
I haven't for a while now.
Yeah, but even with those, I would say, yeah, let me write those.
Okay.
I will say, like, best practices is if you're referring to a section in an amendment, you want to try to reference that section. You know, so you can say, in regards to section 7 of the capital C contract, you know, the total commission is changed to, you know, 6%, whatever. So I could walk you through best practices of doing that. I think it's probably just better that I just write them to protect you guys and protect everybody.
Yeah.
And then you guys just be copying and pasting.
Yeah, I like that.
No, that'll be great. That's
I love that. Yeah.
that kind of answered all the questions at once. That was
Yeah, exactly. It's awesome.
So I think what either one of you, I mean, you guys connect. I know you already have a couple here. What I would do is just go ahead and send me like the most common ones.
Okay.
And then I'll go ahead via email, send that list to me via email, and then I'll type them up.
Okay.
And I'll send them to you. And then you can start saving those. And then anytime you get a new amendment that's not one of those, just let me know, hey, I need an amendment for this, and I'll write it up. Just, you don't have to tell me the buyer's or whatever's names. I'll just write the general amendment, and then you guys will fill in the parties' names.
Okay. Sounds great.
I love it.
That should be easy enough.
Awesome. Cool.
We're good.
Thank you.
So you want to, is that your computer type?
Nope.
Nope, it's not.
Maybe Tara and I can stay on and make that list now before we're done.
Okay, cool.
Sounds good to me.
Awesome. Thank you.
And then you
We'll
can
email it to you.
hit done recording, and then maybe we don't need the recording anymore.
Yeah, we